Hey you guys, it's Raven. So I'm back with another really quick YouTube video. So as you guys know, I am a new mom. My husband and I, we have a 2-month-old. And so right now, I have a lot of friends who are also expecting their little bundles of joy. And for most of them, this is like their first child. So I just wanted to do a really quick YouTube video with a few tips for expectant mommies as well as new mommies. I know that you always hear people say stuff like, once you become a mom and the baby gets here, everything you've read, everything that you've heard, all the advice, it kind of definitely goes like out of the window. So I just wanted to just kind of share some of the advice that I still find useful, as well as like some of the advice that I could just kind of pass on that I wish that someone would have told me. So number one, I would say for expectant moms and new moms, do not get caught up in all the baby gadgets. Because you are probably a member of all these baby apps on your phone and all of that stuff, what's going to happen is that when you get on Facebook, every 5 minutes you're going to see an advertisement for like a new baby gadget, and the mommy in you, especially the new mommy in you that's really excited and just wanting everything to be just perfect with mommyhood and mom life, you're going to feel like you need everything. Your baby needs all of these products. So one thing that I did that I am so happy that I did was that I did not fall prey to everything that these Facebook ads was saying. You definitely want to do your due diligence and go and look at the reviews. I took my time to read a lot of reviews before I prepared my registry. Another thing that I did was the groups that I was in, like the Bump, was one of the ones that I would communicate in a lot. The Baby Center app was another one. Also the what to expect when you're expecting app was another one that I was in. So I would actually go in these groups and I would ask other moms, hey, what do you think about this product? Hey, does anyone use this? Just to kind of get their opinions and then basically prepare my own consensus on it. I think that that's really important, because what you don't want is your home to turn into a 100% baby zone where it doesn't even feel like home for you and your husband anymore. Like, you got baby gadgets all in the dining room, baby gadgets all in your bedroom, baby gadgets all in the refrigerator. Like, they have like their own whole thing. And that was something, my husband is like a big neat freak anyway, but that was something, I did not want our home to just start looking like Babies R Us, to just start looking like it's the baby aisle at Target. And I think that with some of the things that limited that was being mindful of like the products and all the baby gadgets that you're pretty much allowing into your home, because it can get very cluttered really quickly. And when the baby gets here, you're already kind of sleep deprived half the time, and the last thing that you want is a home that's like not kept up and it's baby stuff everywhere, because it's just going to drive you even crazier. So number one is make sure that you're looking at these reviews, make sure that you go into the baby apps that you're in, ask questions, and then just kind of pretty much like, prepare, your own little like consensus on that. Another thing that I would say is, don't get too married to your birth plan or how you think that things are supposed to go, because we're in such a society where people say things like, oh, they be forcing C-sections on people, or oh, like everybody just got their own beliefs, and everybody thinks that when they become a mom that they're like all of a sudden an OBGYN, and that they're like just all these things that they could just tell you their opinion, right? But what you don't want is to get so married to a birth plan that your child, you basically jeopardize your child getting here safely because you're married to, one type of birth plan. I still have not done a YouTube video on Hunter's birth story. I do plan to do that, but long story short, my birth plan wasn't what I thought that it would have been in terms of the process, but I needed to realize that the best birth plan is getting my child here safely and healthy, and thank the Lord that that's what happened. I will share a snippet of my birth plan. I actually had to be induced I was literally induced right at 37 weeks and 1 day pregnant. And you know, when you get induced, it is definitely a different process because it kind of makes like the actual labor itself a little bit more painful as far as, you know, all the contractions and, you know, everything like that. But it's no way that my son would have came out healthy if he would have stayed in the womb until 40 weeks. So he needed to come out. Absolutely. I needed to be induced. I went to my appointment. This was like my 36-week appointment. I was like 36 weeks and I think I was 36 weeks and 6 days or 36 weeks and 5 days. So at that point I had been going to the doctor, you know, every week because it was already like, you know, I was in the home stretch basically of my pregnancy. And so I went to the doctor. We did a growth scan and basically we found out that since my last growth scan, which had been like 2 weeks prior, that my son had only grown by like 6 ounces. So literally my placenta had started to degrade and he started basically, for lack of a better term, starving, you know, in my womb. So the second that my doctor saw that, she was like, oh no, you know, this baby needs to come out now. And I'm just really grateful that, because my birth plan obviously was not to get induced. And I'm just so grateful that, you know, I, one, prayed about my doctor and I trusted her to really guide that, because if we would have went, you know, with what I thought we should do, I would have been, you know, trying to take this baby until basically 40 weeks or whenever, you know, he planned on showing up. So do not get too married to, you know, your birth plan. And that's why you just want to make sure that you pray about who's your doctor or who's your doula or who's your midwife, because you need to 100% trust them. And, you know, I just didn't understand when my doctor was saying, hey, you know, let's do a growth scan. Like, I was actually going to another doctor, a high risk doctor for growth scans, but, you know, my doctor was led to say, hey, let's do a growth scan. And I'm so grateful that she did, because I would not have even, you know, we would not have even known that this was going on. And obstetrics is like literally by the minute. Like, something could change at any given time, you know, in your pregnancy. So I'm just truly grateful that I have a doctor that, you know, I could trust. And so that's like I guess my second piece of like obvious advice for you guys. I would say another thing for new and expectant moms is that you want to make sure that you give yourself some grace. You know, you can read all the books in the world. You can read all the blogs. You can have, you know, all the mommy friends that you want to have. You can ask your grandmother, and it's still going to feel like it's some things that you just do not know. So you got to give yourself some grace to protect your confidence, because it's going to be a lot of times in the beginning where you just feel like, you know, why can't I get this right? Or why is my baby crying? Or, you know, why is my baby not sleeping more? Or why is my baby not doing this? And, you know, why is my baby not doing that? Like, you got to give yourself some grace, and you have to definitely take it one day at a time. Another piece of advice that I would say is comparison. Do not compare yourself to other people's situations, because it's always going to feel like, am I doing too much of this? Am I doing too little of this? You know, when my son was born, like I said, he was a smaller baby. When he was born, he was 4 pounds and 9 ounces. And I refused, you know, to give my son formula. It's nothing wrong, you know, with formula if that's your preference, but it's not my preference. It's not my husband's preference. We, you know, we wanted our son to be breastfed. And so him being so small when he was first born, it was a lot of people in my ear, even at the hospital, saying things like, you're not going to give him formula. You're not going to supplement with formula. How do you know he's not getting enough? He has to catch up. He has to do this. He has to do, like, everybody was just in my ear trying to tell me, you know, how I should be feeding my son. But I did not want to do it. You know, this is my first child. And so people were like, how you going to breastfeed a really, you know, small baby and it's your first child? And basically people thought that I was way out of my league. But I had to pray about it. You know, I basically petitioned to the Lord, God, you know that I want to breastfeed. You know that this is my desire. You know that this is my husband's desire, you know, for our child as well. And, you know, that's basically all we wrote. You know, God honored that request, and our son, thankfully, you know, by God's grace, has never had to have formula. My supply has always been really good, and I'm just grateful, you know, to God for all those things. But the lesson in that is, do not compare yourself to other people. I would have looked crazy, you know, my son was born at 4 pounds 9 ounces. I would have looked crazy comparing myself to somebody that gave birth to a 10-pound baby. Of course, I would have felt, you know, like I'm inadequate next to them because I'm comparing. But I had to learn that, you know, babies come in all shapes, all sizes, all colors, complexions, all of that. And I don't care if my son was 4 pounds 9 ounces when he was born. He was perfect, and more importantly, he's healthy. My son was caught up, and I say caught up in quotes because in my opinion, he was never behind. You know, God meant for him to be 4 pounds and 9 ounces, and not an ounce over and not an ounce under when he was born. So, you know, for me, like the comparison thing, it was a big thing. And you'll have people, especially if you got friends that's having babies like around the same time as you, they'll say things like, well, how much is, you know, Hunter, how many ounces is Hunter eating per feeding? Or how does he sleep through the night? Or how does he do this? I don't get caught up in the comparison, because my baby is going to do what my baby is going to do, and your baby is going to do what your baby is going to do. And that's another reason why, just like you pray about who's your doctor and who's your OBGYN, I think some of the best advice that I can give to new and expectant moms is take your time and select your child's pediatrician. If they allow you to come in and maybe interview the pediatrician, kind of have a conversation with the pediatrician while you're still pregnant, take advantage of that. That was something that was really, really important to me. Like, I prayed so hard over who would be our son's pediatrician. And literally when, you know, I was praying about this, I was asking for recommendations for different pediatricians and everything. And I only asked for recommendations because my husband and I had just moved, you know, relocated to Texas, and, you know, we didn't know any pediatricians in Texas. And so I was asking people, you know, for recommendations, and some of the doctors, immediately when I went on their website, I just knew, like, you know, this kind of ain't really it. But the pediatrician that we ended up choosing for our son, I went on their website, I felt good, but then also I went on their Facebook page, I looked at all the reviews, I had even seen some videos of like the doctor interacting with the kids, and I just really liked something about his spirit. And I remember when he came to see our son at the hospital, one of the first things that he said was, you know, I know he's small, I know he's 4 pounds, but we're not going to overfeed him. If you want to breastfeed him, you can breastfeed him. You don't need to supplement with formula if you don't want to. You know, you don't have to wake him up every hour to feed him and be overfeeding him. Let's just trust that he's going to get enough. And it just put so much peace, you know, in my spirit, because I'm not going to lie, when my son was first born, I cried. I kept thinking, what did I do wrong as a mom when I was pregnant? Was I not eating enough? Was I not, you know, doing this enough? And is that why he's small? Like, I was feeling so inadequate and like it was my fault. But God used our son's pediatrician to also just kind of put me at peace. So you just want to just make sure that, you know, you have the best pediatrician for your kids. You want to make sure that they are in really great care. It's so crazy because I see so many parents on social media saying things like, yeah, my pediatrician told me this, but I ain't agree. No, I don't want a pediatrician that's telling me something, then I gotta go and I gotta do my own research because I don't trust you. I want to know that I was God-led in finding, you know, our son's pediatrician, and we've made the best decision possible. So that's just a few tips for expectant moms, new moms. But, you know, just like anything, take this, you know, I would say with a little bit more than a grain of salt. Pray over it and take from it, you know, what you need, and whatever you don't need, you know, just leave it there. But Thanks for watching my video. If you guys enjoyed this video, subscribe to make sure that you don't miss out on any of my content, and visit my website for more blog posts and other goodies about topics like this. But congratulations to all the expectant moms and new moms. Power to us, because we be needing it sometimes. See you guys in the next video.